Hello and welcome to the Grow Your Business with Video podcast. I'm your host Alex Wardle, and today I'm joined by the one, the only, Dominic Hodgson. How's it going, Dom?
I'm good, my friend. How are you? Thanks for having me on. Pleasure to catch up with you again.
No problem at all. No worries. I should point out for viewers of the podcast that we're not in two different time zones. Dom's sitting there in his office, clearly getting like full sunlight in there, and it is another beautiful April day here in the northeast. And I've decided for some reason to shut all the curtains and put some lights on to make it look kind of funky. But we are both GMT. But how are things at the moment for you, Dom, business-wise and stuff? It's been a while since we had you on the show, but we've been collaborating on some stuff recently and learnt some lessons along the way, which I thought the viewer/listener would benefit from. So how are things generally with you?
Generally pretty good, pal. There's a train going past just as I mentioned. I opened the window to let a bit of fresh air in. So there
train
you go.
Spotting now.
You've got to be quick to see it. All in all, business is pretty good. We had Alex, my son, who had previously ran the adventure business. He actually left in September time to try something else. He'd never really done anything else since he left college, really, apart from being in the business. So he left to try something else, and then he basically came back just about a month ago. So that's been really good. Having him back on board, he's re-energized again. So we're busying up that side of the business. The dog adventure, boarding/training side of the business is busying up again. And yeah, I've been really busy with my pet business coaching side of things. We've done a number of programs recently. Done some more specialized programs lately. So a dog trainer specific program, a dog walkers business in a box. Me and you did the Stand Out in 7 Day challenge in our little profit booster program as well. And yeah, generally I've just been kind of keeping busy, keep priming the pump, trying to keep people coming in and trying to deliver a really wow experience for them when they come in. And it seems to be working.
Nice one. Actually, the talk of sort of onboarding that you just mentioned there about making it a wow experience, that's something that I find particularly interesting because I think a lot of us kind of forget about that side, and we put a lot of emphasis on like finding new customers and clients and putting the feelers out there for like new business to come in and new leads and stuff. But we quite often not so much forget about our current clients, but like we neglect that process of really making them feel welcome and kind of delighting them and making them kind of overjoyed with whatever it is that they've just bought or just, they've come into your world in some way. What are some of the things that you do to help with that?
Cool, yeah. So how I describe it, buddy, is there's two engines in your business, two engines in your marketing machine. The first engine is all about getting fresh eyes on the business. So how do I drum up interest, demonstrate my expertise, share my story so I build up trust to a point at which someone's prepared to actually fill in an application form, give me a ring and invest money, Then when that happens, engine number 2 kicks in. Engine number 2 is all about onboarding, upselling, providing a wow experience, getting referrals, getting testimonials, all that kind of thing, And the big money, all of the big money in your business is in engine number 2. And you kind of need to have them both going all of the time, really. Yeah, and this, what you talk about there, the onboarding, the wow, providing like a wow experience for people. This is not something that I know people put enough effort or thought into, but you want to, it's really timely for me at the moment because we're doing I'm doing like a how to Disneyfy your pet business series with my PBIC members, And we recently had Vance Morris on for a teleclass, who's a former Disney customer service leader. And I've done a lot of research into Disney and stories and stuff like that, marketing lessons from them. And this is very much what their business is based upon, is like making it so good that people want to come back. They want to spend more money with you. They want to tell their friends about you. You're putting stories in their mouths really about your business, And this can be really small stuff. So just like sending people handwritten postcards, or sending them a message, you know what I mean? Send them some kind of video message, something that shows that you put some time and effort into it, right up to, giving them onboarding gifts, creating an experience around everything really, so that you're like what you said before about the whole delighting thing, you're surprising and delighting them. That's really what wowing is, when we're wowing people, we're making them go like, oh, like I wasn't expecting that, and that's kind of what you want. If you can create that kind of feeling amongst your customers, give them that kind of experience, they'll keep coming back, they'll buy more, they'll tell their friends, and like you can almost build a business on referrals, like that. If you do it well enough and you do it consistently enough.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's great, mate. And I think it's one of them things that perhaps the reason that most of us forget about this and perhaps don't do as much as we should is because to us it seems like not a big thing. It seems like something that perhaps doesn't warrant our time or attention, and that it's like, well, how much difference could doing a welcome video for someone actually make? If I was to make a video specifically for them just to say, hey, welcome to this membership that you're now in, or whatever it is, surely that's not going to make that much difference, and I might as well just not bother. But actually, I've noticed with you, you do that with pretty much everyone, don't you, that comes into PBIC Diamond, because I see the videos go up on your Vimeo channel, and they're all personalized, and just like quick little welcome messages specifically for that person who's joined. But I think, again, it's just that thing of, as we always say, putting yourself in the mind of your customer, of that person who's just bought, and thinking how much of a difference that's actually going to make to them. And like you say, kind of surprise and delight in them. Even if it's just that particular day, that could be that one thing that stands out in that day for them, that acts as like a little hook in their memory of like, oh, Dom made us that video today. That was awesome. That was something that I wasn't expecting. And then it kind of sets them up to be expectant of more things to be delighted for in the future. So you can see how it kind of compounds over time, for sure. And I imagine
Absolutely
that
does.
Using something like the welcome videos as an example, that's not something that you need to think too much about. I'm assuming that that you don't particularly put much planning into that, or like worry too much about the techie side of it video wise. It's something that is kind of low in effort perhaps for you, relatively speaking, compared to some of the other business building activities that you do day to day. But again, for them, it's a big thing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the more sort of scratchy and in person and off the cuff they are, the better, really, for that kind of thing. For most of mine, I make a point of like just taking a cup of coffee down into the garden, and so I'm doing it in the garden. And with the chickens, I'm basically giving people, at the same time as I'm saying like, hey, just wanted to send you this message to say, I'm delighted that you've signed up. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Here's the next steps. Here's what's going to happen over the next few days. Hit reply, let me know what you're up to. But at the same time as I'm doing that, so I'm thanking them, I'm reassuring them, I'm reminding them of what's going to happen. I'm also giving them a little peek into like my life, as well. And I'm sharing, hey, I've got some chickens here, and this is where I live. And sometimes I might do one even if I'm out on the bike or something, if I'm having a rest, I might do one like that. And this is it's all just sharing it just shares, going off topics slightly, but like, sharing like little things about your life, and this is where these connections are made with people that make your business about more than just the service that you're delivering, because ultimately they can get the service anywhere, people can get, they can get business coaching from anywhere. Jesus, that's like, just turn on Facebook, do you know what I mean? And you'll be bombarded with people, and they can get video guys anywhere, they can get dog trainers, dog groomers, they're 10 a penny, you know what I mean? But they can only get you and your experience from you. So I've just a couple of little examples for you. I've got, we recently took on we do this every time we get a new client anyway, but we recently took on a puppy, and when we did the first session with the puppy, and we took a bunch of photographs, nice photographs of the puppy out doing his little socialization and stuff. And then we come home, and Beth goes on to like Funky Pigeon or Moon Pig or something like that. And then she puts together a little card, and it just says like, hey, welcome to the Pack Leader family. Pack Leader family welcomes Odin. There was the name of the dog, and some pictures on of him. And then inside it just says something like, hey, Mammy, or something like, hey, Mam, thanks so much for sending me out with Pack Leader last week. I had a fantastic time, and I can't wait for my next adventure. Love the dog. And then that goes in the post. That goes in the post, and it gets delivered. Usually we try and get it delivered as well. So, because again, that enhances the experience, doesn't it? If we leave a letter. If we leave a letter in the kitchen when we pick the dog up, that's still impressive, because nobody else is going to do that. But then they know who it's from, don't they? Kind of, So if it comes in the post, well, they have no idea. So they've got that anticipation and excitement of, I've got a personalized letter here. And then they open it, they see who it's from, and then these things never get thrown away. I've got examples of when I started to put together my first official newsletter for my dog adventure clients in 2018. And I sent it out to everybody. And I texted one of my clients, Lindsay, who's still a client now. And I said, like, hey, Linz, what did you think of the post of the newsletter? And she said, oh, it was great. Thanks. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, I should have done one years ago. And she said, oh, actually, you did. And then she sent me this picture about 20 seconds later of my newsletter that I just sent her alongside a little homemade keepsake that I used to do for the dogs when they first used to come and stay with us. And it just had a picture of the dog on the front, and it said, like, look what I got up to while I was on holiday, and had pictures inside of similar kind of thing, to the more flashy version. But the point is, this was like 5 years ago when I sent her this, and the original one, and she was able to lay her hands on it within like 30 seconds and send me a picture of it. So like, this is sitting, it's not like it's sitting in a drawer, or it's attached to the fridge, or, something like that. This is your ingratiating yourself in there, and putting yourself in their lives, and they remember this kind of thing. Yeah, massively, and the knock-on benefits it has are huge, but for the, how your reputation will grow, what they feel about your business, how much more business they're going to give you, how much they're going to refer you, all this kind of thing, and it starts off just something small like that. We do more elaborate things as well, so if someone joins Diamond, or someone joins a PBIC, they get some welcome and stuff. For my private clients, though, who pay a lot more money, well, they get a lot more, they get a lot more stuff, and they get more of an onboarding experience based upon the amount of money that they're spending with you, and if someone's spending £100 with you, if you don't think it's worth spending a £5 or a £10 on to make it a better experience for them, like, you're asleep at the wheel. If someone spend £1,000 with you, if you're not prepared to spend 20 or 50 quid, like, what do you must simply have thousands of leads coming out your ears, like, to be able to just take those customers for granted.
Yeah, so true, mate. So true. I couldn't sum that up better myself, and I think you've touched on loads of interesting and very powerful points there. But I really like, when you said about sharing little things and that being how the connections are made. I think that's so true and so important, and something that, again, I think people, people have different sort of, boundaries, I guess, for want of a better word, for how much they want to share with people, and each to their own. For that, you're quite open and honest with what you share. You involve your family. You talk about Alex and Beth and Toby and your dogs. Your parents as well, and like where you live and stuff like that. You share all kinds of anecdotes from your life, from your personal life, and I think that just allows people to. It opens up that window into your world, doesn't it? And allows people to get to know you, like the true you, because you can't really be an inauthentic version of that, because you're sharing little stories like you would for a friend that you haven't met for a while or something. And I think that's a really good way of connecting with people, because that's how you connect with people in actual real life. So if you extend that to your marketing and the videos that you do, and then it kind of can't not fail, really. And like you said, the connections that you make like that are really important, because I think what you said there about like they can get the service from anywhere, but they can't get you anywhere else. I think that's something that people need to really think about a lot more, because so you're probably quite proud of your business, and you know that you help people, and you've got, you know, lots of happy customers and clients from the past however many years, and that's obviously great. But I think it's quite important to remember that to those customers, as close as they might be to you, you know, there are alternatives out there for them. There are plenty of alternatives, and if they fancied a change, or if something happened that made them think about going elsewhere, they probably could do quite easily, because like you said, the service they can get anywhere, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what it is you do, you just need to kind of do a quick search or go down the road even sometimes, and there's someone else doing exactly the same thing. And yeah, they're not going to do it in the same way as you, but that's hence why we need to communicate that effectively with our prospects and our customers, and ultimately answer the question, like, what's going to help them to stick with you? What is going to be there to provide, to be like the glue that keeps them attached to you, rather than being floaty and having the potential to just, you know, do off and find someone else. So, and I think, as I say, one of the best ways to do that is to be quite personal. So if you're going to do something like a welcome video for someone, or you're going to allow them to get to know you by opening up that window into your world, I think that's a really powerful way of helping people to stick with you, because again, you're making the experience so much more personal. And just as a kind of segue from that as well, I was speaking with someone recently who I'm going to be filming with later in the year, like in a couple of months' time. And she was mentioning something about Instagram, and said like, oh, I'm not on Instagram, but I think I should be. But I don't really know what kind of content to make for that. And I said to her, well, you don't really have to think of it in any, you know, different way than you would any other marketing, any other social media platform. The fundamentals are still the same. You might find there are plenty of people out there that we berate all the time, don't we? You know, the social media gurus who will insist that you have to do things a certain way on certain platforms and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, the fundamentals are the same. If you put out content that is personal, that allows people to get to know, like, and trust you, and that brings people a little bit closer to you, then ultimately you're going to be onto a winner, really. So I said to her, let's not overthink it. You probably should be on Instagram. Get yourself on there. We'll do some content for it to kind of kickstart the process. But what I would say right now up front is people enjoy, again, not specifically just on Instagram, but in general, but like people enjoy that really kind of authentic, scratchy, as you said, homemade, kind of wholesome material, because it's obvious that it has come straight from you. So, and people might think this is weird for someone like me to say this, but like, if you can put that type of content out there, I think it does have that immediate kind of authentic, oh, they've made that themselves, they've gone to the time and effort to make that themselves. I can tell that it's a little bit rough around the edges, but I like that, because there's kind of no veil in front of it, which you potentially have the risk of by, you know, if you got someone like me to come down and film all of your content and all of it was professionally shot. I think even if the person on the other end doesn't consciously think it, they kind of subconsciously know that it's not fake. You know, it's not fake, obviously, but it's been molded and constructed and edited in a certain way, hasn't it? And obviously there's a time and a place for that. And again, like, I would say that because that's what I do, but obviously there is. But I really see the value in combining the two types, really, and having, you know, your super duper all singing, all dancing content that looks and sounds great and that's edited in a certain way. It's very creative, very artistic, perhaps. That has a place in your marketing system, and not even in your marketing system, but in your content system for things like courses, perhaps, or events that you do that you want to capture, and
your website even.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that's going to stick around for a long time and that is potentially going to be seen by lots of different people every day. But for the stuff that, like you said, is ephemeral, disappears, it's like a one-time thing, it's specifically for one person. But even beyond that, to be fair, I don't think there's anything wrong with being quite spontaneous, scratchy, just getting out your iPhone, pressing record and making something. Because again, to kind of bring things full circle, to you it's something that is potentially like low value and like low cost in terms of how long it's going to take you and how much effort it's going to require. But to them, it could potentially be the thing that makes them think, well, I wasn't sure about this decision I made, but now I know that I'm in good hands. Does that kind of... Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. A couple of things I was going to say about that is you want to be really careful of how you arrive, how you, what people's first impression or their first touch point is with you, not even your first, the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, that you don't want it, because sometimes, depending on the type of stuff that you're putting together, it can look like, if it looks like salesy, do you know what I mean? Not even salesy, but if it looks too polished, then sometimes people will just automatically realize that they're kind of watching an advert,
Yeah.
And you don't really want that because unless it's an advert, that you're putting paid money behind. But even then you would still want to connect with something that was important to them, rather than talking about your thing. But this is one of the reasons to sort of switch from online to offline quickly. This is one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of people putting together like a newsletter and doing it in a newsletter format rather than like a leaflet, or a brochure kind of thing. Because a leaflet often it's obviously just designed to sell, isn't it? If you get a leaflet in the post, your first reaction is, well, my first reaction is just put it in the bin, you know what I mean? Because I just think, well, I'm not interested in buying what they've got to sell, But if I get a parish newsletter or something through the door, well, even though I don't believe in God, I'm not interested in going to church, I'm still interested in what goes on in my town, so I'm be more likely to read it a little bit, aren't I? If I we got a leaflet through the door the other day for a local councillor, and I'm not particularly interested in that particular party or anything like that, but it was like story based, and it was like, let me tell you about, why, how I feel about this, your town and that, your village, and I'm interested, I'm interested a bit. I'm hooked in a little bit, and similar with the video stuff that we produce and anything else, we want to be careful that we don't turn up looking like, hey, look what, this is what we've got to sell you today, and like you said, there's a time and place for it, on your website and stuff, you can afford to do that a bit more on there because like the people have arrived on your website because they're looking for something to buy, you know what I mean? But like when they're stumbling across you in the different thing, marketing materials that you're putting out there, they're often not looking for somebody, they're just going about their daily lives, so you want to make sure that you hook them in with something that isn't too, just kind of salesy really, because as soon as people know they're being sold to, like the heckles go up a little bit, don't they, and their defenses go up a little bit. And just tie into the other thing that you said as well, the second point I was going to make is why you want to share more of yourself and the bits and bobs of stuff that's going on in your life and all that kind of thing, is you obviously give people a little bit of a peek behind the curtain as to what your life's like, and you show them that you're a real person. And also that encourages you attract more people like you. We know this already, you know what I mean? But you reap what you sow, essentially, So if you're putting out there a false message, you'll attract the kind of people that you don't really want to work with, Like I see people doing different stuff on different adverts and stuff even all the time, and I just think, well, I don't care how much they're selling. Like if I had to go on like that, you know. And because I know what kind of people they're going to be attracting, you know, and I just think if I had to go on like they're going on to get their kind of business and work with the kind of people that they're attracting, I'd rather jack the whole thing in and just go and get a job. Do you know what I mean? Because I can't think of anything worse, you know. But and like going back, you know, 5-6 years ago, this was all new to me, you know. But like now I've seen, because I've built a number of businesses now around, put my personality into it, and you attract amazing people. You know, you really attract people who you really enjoy working with, you know, who like love you, you know, like they don't pay late, you know, they don't quibble about price, you know, they come in, they spend, you know, they enjoy, they consume, they want, and then they want more, you know, and like, but all of that starts with these little bits of stuff, little bits of content and promotional activity and stuff that you're putting out there. That's where it all starts, you know. And it might be a difficult lesson for some people to learn when, you know, if they're just starting out, because, you know, imagining what your business is going to be like in a year or 2 or 5 or even 6 months time, you might be thinking like, oh God, you know, I can't afford to think about that now. I need to put beans on the table. And like, I agree. Yes, you do, you know, but the sooner you start kind of embracing this kind of thing, the quicker you'll build the kind of business that it don't really feel like a business, you know. It just feels like just you're literally doing something that you love doing and working with people that it's still work. Don't get me wrong, you know. It's not like it doesn't work, but you still have to do stuff, but it's like enjoyable, you know. Just very quickly, I recently wrote in one of the letters to my platinum people. Over the last maybe 6 weeks, 2 months, I felt like my business it's at a point now where I have like the least stress that I've had for a long time, you know, maybe ever even, you know. And a lot of that is down to all of the like hard work that we did last year, and, you know, and because I've been premium price since day one and cash flow has always been pretty good and that, but like now a lot of things are slotting into place, you know. We're saving better, we're handling money better, we've got more of a pipeline. Obviously Beth's in the business now, so, you know, she's taken a lot of stuff off my hands that I wasn't very good at and she's doing it better. Alex is in, he's enjoying what he's doing and like everything. But this is like, it's like a nice place to be in. And I'm not saying I'm not doing nothing, because I'm still working very, very hard, but it's a nice place to be in, you know. It's a nice place to get your business to. And I think that is directly tied into all of the stuff that we just talked about before, you know, with how the message that you're putting out there, you know, and you're putting your personality into it and all that kind of thing. This is what it can lead to. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's one of them things that compounds over time, doesn't it? And it requires consistency, which is why, like you said, you know, rightly so, that if you're quite new to this, it can seem like a hell of a task and a daunting thing. And it's like, where are the positives going to come from? When are they going to happen? No one really knows. Like, and no one can tell you. You know, if you make this amount of content consistently for this amount of time, then you'll earn this much money. Like, no one can say that, of course. But I think it's fair to say that the benefits are there, and you can see that from people like yourself who are very personal and do open up that window and do so consistently. I love the points about the newsletter and stuff, and about the, you know, what am I being sold today? Like, it's so true, isn't it? I think everyone would agree with that. So if you can take even just that little lesson and apply that to your own marketing, whether it is, well, you should be doing it across the board really, but whether it is with video or other mediums as well, because like, and we'll wrap things up now, mate, because I think we've talked about a hell of a lot in this episode, which is great. But I think something else to just kind of serve as a reminder is that I always say to people as well, video is just one medium of doing this, and like naturally I'm going to talk about that a lot, of course, but a video is not the only way that I market my business either. I've got my newsletter, I've got my book, we do direct mail, I've got the website, and we do podcasts and all sorts, and because it should be part of a system. And I think that's where the greatest benefits will come from this, really, like as you say, is different kinds of content, meeting different people at different stages in their journey with you, having different touch points that eventually, bring people closer to you, not assuming that it's going to be like, I'm going to create one outstanding bit of content and then all the sales are going to roll in. Like, it's not how it works anymore. It's about showing up as yourself consistently, meeting people where they're at, helping them out genuinely with like the problems that they've got, or with helping them to attain the things that they want. Which really, like, when you think about it, doesn't have to be any more complicated or involved than how it sounds, really. It's just about being a nice person, really. And then obviously tying it into creating a profitable business, of course. But it really doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And anyone who says it is probably just trying to sell you some kind of program that, I don't know, some kind of get-rich scheme or something. And there's lots of different facets to this as well, which is why, obviously, memberships like yours exist, because you've been there, done that, you've helped a lot of people out with the process, and there's lots of different things to learn and to implement over time. But with regards being an authentic, showing up as an authentic like person online amidst all of this noise, I think there's a lot to be gained from the types of hints and tips that you've outlined throughout this episode. So
hopefully,
people just need to get started with it, really. And again, just to round off, set your own boundaries in terms of what you want to share, for sure. You might not want to tell people about the area that you live in or your family or anything like that. That's totally fine. It's all up to you as to where the boundary is. But I think most people could probably be a little bit more open in their content.
Agreed.
And see where it leads them.
Again, just to go back to what I said before, you want them to know that you're a real person. You want them to know people buy people. Yeah. And like, they buy socks and dog training and advert, and marketing advice and food and all these type of things. Do you know what I mean? But especially if you're service-based business, it's not about the service. It's about the person and who you are, how you can help, what makes you different, all this kind of thing. It's like you said, the more, even if you're a bit reticent about this, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And certainly I'm proof of this. You are as well. And lots of people that we've been mentored by and stuff over the years, and that will, or who I've mentored even, they've done the same thing, and it's contrary advice to what is usually put out there, but that's why it works.
Yeah, exactly right. Cool. Well, I think we better wrap it up, mate. We've talked about all sorts there, but that's been very in-depth, very interesting. So thank you for your time. I should mention it as well, because unfortunately for the listener, the doors are shut now, but we are embarking on a 4-week training program, aren't we? We're collaborating. I mentioned this the other week. We started with a challenge group on Facebook called Stand Out in 7 Days, which does what it says on the tin for pet professionals. And by the time this episode goes out, actually, I think we'll have just started doing our 4-week training program off the back of that, which I'm super looking forward to. And I think we're going to help those pet professionals out to no end with standing out and with creating more effective marketing and creating more of the type of business that they want to have. So I'm really looking forward to working with you closely on that, mate. But in the meantime, could you just remind people where they can go to find out more about you and to listen to your podcast and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. It's going to be absolutely yes. Make up for the fact that we're not doing an event together this year, an actually in-person event. This is kind of the next best thing, isn't it? So, yeah, I've got a podcast called the Poodle to Pitbull Pet Business Podcast, which Alex is regularly on. Well, he's probably on more than anybody else. After me, he's the most regular guest. And that's specifically for pet business owners. And then also, if there's any other pet business owners listen to this, you can get a free copy of my audiobook, The Ultimate Pet Business Plan, by going to growyourpetbusinessfast.com/free audio. You get the access to the full book there. I'll teach you the 3 phases of pet business growth, from starting up to staffing, scaling, systemizing, and then creating a really impactful business. And that's it, really. Other than that, I'm all over the place, mate. Hoops, everything's out there.
Yes, indeed. Nothing if not consistent. Nice one. All right, well, thanks very much for your time again today, Dom, and thank you for all the insights. It's been awesome. Go and check out all the resources and links that Dom has just mentioned, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks, buddy.
Bye for now.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Grow Your Business with Video podcast, and that you're ready to take another step towards creating truly effective video. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review so that we can help even more people. For everything else, you can find us at artifactmedia.co.uk. Thanks for listening. See you next time.